Good morning, 7th grade. Welcome to day 3 of week 10. Today is May 28th. So I just wanted to show you what you're going to be responsible for today. Today is going to be pretty simple if you've been really focused on the lessons this week, because the activity we have planned for you is focusing on the vocabulary that we reviewed on Tuesday and then the angle measures that we reviewed yesterday. So if you've been doing well with the 2 lessons, then this activity should take you no time. It's really just a review of what we've already covered. So if you are someone that has been struggling with the lessons, I want to just recommend using the posters that I put in the takeaway. This one was for Wednesday, when it explains which angles are equal in measure and which angles are supplementary. And then there's also the poster from Tuesday's takeaway. Let me just show you right here. And this goes over the definitions as well as a diagram to show you an example of those particular angles. So I think that these would be super helpful to review if you do feel like you are struggling, or also just go to the feedback that I've given you for your assignments, okay? And that should also be helpful. So you click on the classwork tab, we'll go down to week 10, day 3, and you'll see we have our activity day. So there's going to be 2 attachments here. The first one is your Google form where you have to submit your final answers for numbers 1 through 10. The second one is a Google Doc, and that is your coloring page where you would color the picture with the correct color to match the question number. If you do not have the coloring supplies or can't color it digitally, you are allowed to leave this portion of the assignment out, which has been the same rules I've had since we started doing our virtual learning. Okay, so I'll show you the form first. Okay, so you're going to open it up and you're going to see the directions at the top. So this is the picture you're going to continue to use for a majority of the questions, if not all of them. I have to scroll down to see if that's correct. So you're going to read each problem carefully and use the diagram if needed. Find your answer in one of the 3 answer boxes and use the problem number to color that corresponds with the correct answer in the picture on the following page. So like I said, the coloring page is on the doc. This is where you're just answering the questions. So the questions are here, but I also typed them up here for you. So it says angles that share a vertex but not a side are called. So you're going to decide, is that corresponding angles, vertical angles, or supplementary angles? And at this point, you guys should know which ones share a vertex, which means they're opposite angles, but not a common side. So I'll give you an example. They're talking about angles 1 and 6. What type of angles are those? So that's going to be your answer for number 1. And then you'll continue answering the questions. Number 2, which angles have the same measurement? That means which ones are congruent. Okay, so use your definitions to answer questions like those. Then they're going to give you 2 angles. So for example, they say angle 2 and 7 in the diagram are. So you have to locate 2 and 7 and decide what type of angles are they. That's what we did on Tuesday, and you guys did very well with that. So use your notes, use the lessons, use all the resources, guys, to help you be successful on this, okay? 4, same thing. It says angles, this should be fixed, it will be fixed. Angles 5 and 6 are, so you're looking at angle 5 and 6. What type of angles are these when they form a straight line? Okay, then it says angles 1 and 4 in the diagram are. Okay, so you're looking at angles 1 and 4. What type of angles are they? That's a tricky one. So this one actually isn't a type of angles we've discussed, but looking at the answers, I know that it's not corresponding because they're both outside of the line. And I also know they're not complementary because if I put them together, they will not form a 90-degree angle. So for number 5, the answer is exterior angles. Exterior angles are the ones that are just outside, which is what 1 and 4 are. So there you go, I gave you an answer. Okay, 6, if angle 1 is 104, then what is the measure of angle 8? So now you have to use your relationship that you know about angles 1 and 8 and decide, well, would it be congruent or would it be supplementary? Because at this point, you all should know that in these diagrams, they're either going to be equal to each other or they're going to add to 180 degrees. Most of the time, if you notice that they're both obtuse or they're both acute, that means they're equal. And then if there's one obtuse and one acute, then that means they add to 180. Just a hint. All right, 7. If angle 5, that's this angle here, is 75, then what's the angle measure of 2? You guys should know this for sure. We focused on this last week as well as this week, the relationship between 5 and 2. Okay, if angle 2 is 66, then what is the angle measure of 1? Now these two angles are next to each other, they form a straight line, so I think those would be supplementary. So you're going to have to do a little work for that one to figure it out. 9, if 8 is 130, then what is 5? Again, these are just exterior angles. If you do the dot test, you'll see that 8 has a dot and 5 doesn't. So that means something. Use your notes to help that one out. And then 10, the sum of supplementary angles is, I am not helping you with this question. You should all get this one correct at this point, okay? Then you click submit and you move on. So that's the form. And then if you have the coloring supplies to complete this part, the first part is just the same thing you just answered, which you don't have to answer again because you already did the form, but you can use it as a guide for your coloring. And then this is the picture you would color if you have the supplies. If you do not, you leave that portion of the assignment out and call it a day. All right, guys, hope everything's going well. Stay safe. Miss you.